And Neil, it must have been a couple of months ago. We were chatting to the guest, the co-founder of the Moon World Resorts, Michael Henderson, via Zoom. He was in his home in Canada, in Vancouver, and it's an honour to say that just because of that interview, he decided to make his way into Dubai. Michael, thank you very much for coming into the studios.
It's great to see you guys. Thank you for asking me. It's been 20 hours on a plane just to get to you, but I only came because of you.
I think it'd be quicker to get to the moon sometimes.
For sure. I agree. I agree.
Knowing the fact that the moon's coming on Earth, we don't really need to make that travel either.
We're going to make it easy.
So Michael is in here because the Moon World Resorts are going to be opening around the world, and you've locked in Dubai as going to be a place for these huge moon-shaped resorts for luxury stays. For anyone who didn't hear the last interview or who really are unaware of this, it's a luxury hotel that is the moon. And you've done so much research and so much when it comes down to making sure that all the contours and every crack and everything is going to be identical to what you find on the moon here on Earth.
Yeah, exactly. Authenticity is the key. It's not a theme park. It's not kid-orientated. It's very much adult-orientated, which means the audience are going to be looking for a real, authentic experience. So it's taken a long time. Technology's come a long way over the years, and yeah, we're going to have something pretty spectacular. This is going to give you the ability to join in the space tourism. You don't have to just be a spectator anymore. You can actually get involved, and that's what's going to make it exciting.
Fantastic, isn't it? I mean, the thought of it itself is so massive that one has to imagine what it will be when it comes through. But it's one of the 4, I believe, in the world, right? One in North America, one in Europe, one in Asia, and one right here in Dubai.
Yeah, we can put about 2.5 million people a year on the lunar surface, and when you think there's 8 billion people in the world, so we figured we didn't want to pollute the world with moons.
Too many moons.
Exactly, yeah. But if we put 4 in those strategic places, that seemed to make a lot of sense for us. The MENA region is big, 575 million people roughly. So again, look at the mathematics, 2.5 million on the surface every year, massive population. Everybody wants in their lifetime to walk on the moon. So do the math. I think we're going to be booked out for quite a few years in advance.
When it comes down to getting into that market of people that want to go into space tourism, do you see this as somewhat as a viable, cheaper alternative?
Well, it's not so much that it's a cheaper alternative. It's more the fact that it's so expensive to do space tourism at the moment. It's about $250,000 to $400,000 for 4 minutes of weightlessness on, say, Virgin Galactic. And, when it was first brought out, the discussion was it's going to be very highly priced, and then eventually it will come down. In actual fact, it's gone up. It's gone the opposite way. Right. And so it may be, eventually perhaps it will come down, but it's still going to be expensive. And, also there's a bit of a safety issue there too, which can put some people off. It wouldn't put me off, perhaps not you guys, but some people, can be put off a little bit. With our moon, for $500, you can spend 90 minutes on the lunar surface and a lunar colony. It's a lot longer, and it's totally safe. Wow. So
you mentioned that you can be on the lunar surface. What can one expect when they come in for this 90-minute experience?
Well, I think the biggest surprise is going to be the scale. So when the dry ice dissipates and the doors actually open and you walk out onto that lunar surface, you really will think you're walking on the moon. You'll be looking back at the galaxy, you'll be looking back at Earth, obviously, and then you'll see a full lunar colony. It's actually a working lunar colony. It's an active lunar colony. So you'll see lots of stuff going on, educational facility. We have a university campus there. And so there's just going to be a lot of things coming at you. But I think, good question, I think the biggest thing people will feel is that wow factor. It's scale, it's size, smell, touch, feel, lighting. Everything is going to make you feel like you have never been here before.
And none of this is VR. It's not virtual reality. It's all real. You don't have to wear those VR glasses and experience, I'm experiencing weightlessness while I'm still stuck around a little rig.
You can be as beautiful as your face without any apparatus on your face.
Yeah.
This is not, we say this is not VR. This is not AR. This is just R. This is
Real.
reality.
Well, that's
Yeah,
a great
fantastic.
term. I like that term. So, to give you an update, it's a 360-degree recreation of the moon on the complete scale, craters, texture, the whole thing. It's going to be 224 metres high. Michael, I'm incredibly amazed that you've been able to get it this far. So many times you hear people that have great ideas and you're not able to execute this. But this idea, it's been decades in the making, hasn't it?
We're 22 years into it, and from an entrepreneurial perspective, some of your listeners who are entrepreneurs will know that you initially get an idea and you think you know everything, and this will be built in a year or two. In reality, it's not. It's a lot more difficult. We've had to wait for technology, building materials, carbon fiber composite materials, a lot of electronic equipment. It's just taken a long time. Similarly to space tourism itself, when it was first talked about in 2000, Virgin were going to be sending people on their craft in 06, 07. That never happened,
Right.
even with all the money that they had. And so things just take longer. And then there's a tipping point when suddenly everything seems to come together, what we call convergence. And it's happening right now.
But when was that moment that you realised, you know what, this is actually all going to happen? This might just happen. Was there a deal you signed? Was there a development in technology?
It was probably when space tourism really started to become a reality in 17, 18 roughly, just before COVID hit. And I think people suddenly got a resurgence of interest in space tourism, but were frustrated that they couldn't participate.
Right.
And we were the answer. We were the bridge, if you like, that, hey, you can participate. You don't need to just look at a television screen and hear what somebody else, experienced. You can actually be part of it. And we started to get a lot more interest at that point. So maybe 17, 18.
Okay.
But of recent times, we've gone viral, and we've never experienced that before. We've had media interest from different parts of the world at different times. Right now we have 600 media companies covering Moon. Never had that before.
Wow. And when it comes, what's the reaction been from many people from the aeronautical space? From the hardcore NASA fans. Are they behind this?
Yeah, you might be surprised because they too don't want to spend $300,000-$400,000 for 4 minutes. They want to be part of it. Moon will also be a training area for astronauts and space tourism and space agencies. So we're very much working with them. We would hope that NASA, ESA, UAE have a space group. We would hope to welcome all of those groups too. Again, very authentic, so they will be able to use it for training as well.
Now, when you say about NASA and other space agencies, we're moving towards the pure sciences, the space researchers, but then there are people who just want to experience it for the fun of it,
Yes.
without being so technically involved in it. They just want to come in, enjoy the experience of it, and like any luxury resort, the stay, the spas, the nightclubs. Wait, actually, would the Moon have a nightclub?
Not on the lunar surface,
Okay.
but yes. Basically, I think we touched on this first time we talked. It's almost a two-sphere approach, if you'll forgive the pun. The destination resort itself will have everything that you would normally find in a very large luxury resort, although each of our component parts is going to be different to anything that you've seen. Like the nightclub, for instance, will be very different, but still a nightclub.
Fair.
And that's sort of one element to it. And then the other element, obviously, is our signature attraction, which will do something that you can't do anywhere else.
Right.
So we blend them both together, and you have something, pretty remarkable.
I've been very, very curious from the very beginning with the astronomy, the lunar surface. I've been reading a lot about space researchers and everything, and probably one of the reasons why I'm named Neil is because Neil Armstrong was the first man on the moon. It is.
Wow.
So it comes from the family. We've been aligned in that way. But when we think of man landing on Moon, after the first few steps that were taken by NASA, Then they realize that, oh, it's too expensive. Let's not go there. Shut the man mission on moon. We are now trying to create and sending the common man on moon. Now, this experience of getting onto the lunar surface, will it be a complete experience where you are jumping into a space suit with the helmet and the visor?
Absolutely.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah,
This is amazing. So,
no, this is real. We need you to, in order for this to be a success,
right.
We have to have some people dropping to their knees in tears. It has to be a mind-blowing, sort of life-changing experience. Otherwise, it was a good attraction, but it didn't really satisfy me. We have to do everything absolutely perfectly. That's why when people say, "Why is it so large?" Because it has to be large. You can't do it small.
You can't gamify it.
You can't.
It has to be authentic, right?
And you can't, with all respect to theme parks, and they're different. You can't have you guys walking around the lunar surface and kids running about screaming or with ice cream and popcorn, because then we've lost you again. It's not real. So all the little details will make it very, very clear, and we have astronauts who are working with us, that this is an authentic experience. This is real, and it'll get you excited.
Michael, we're so excited to have you in Dubai, with the possibility of this opening here. You mentioned how there was 600 media or so outlets that are targeting you around the world. How close are you to finalising which cities are going to be able to have the moon resort?
Well, it's a matter of which one will come first. We're talking to some folks in Singapore for the Asia-Pacific region, California for North America, and MENA region. Dubai is kind of a no-brainer.
Right.
In sort of many respects. It's just such a great, dynamic city. It's so far ahead of everybody else in the region.
But you could also understand that Dubai would be a great commercial fit, but you'd also be thinking, and just looking as an outsider, Saudi Arabia would also be very keen to get something like this.
Well, I
know you can't reveal too much, but
from a business perspective, one would always say, the first deal that gets signed, that's where it's going to go.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm in Dubai, not Riyadh, right now, and so. Dubai is just so far ahead of everywhere else. It's very compelling. The infrastructure's here, tourism is here, people are here.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing with the World Cup, you were caught in the traffic because everyone's staying here and then flying into the World Cup and coming back.
Yeah, exactly. And so we need that sort of volume infrastructure. Plus, Moon will be the largest tourism draw in Dubai. We'll bring in an extra 10 million tourists a year.
Wow.
Not everybody could handle that. Doha could not handle that. Doha, Qatar could afford it, but they can't handle that sort of volume right now. Dubai could, and so, it's a compelling story. The whole Dubai story.
And any preference? Do you have any preference on locations around the city? Or
we're flexible. The regional licensee will ultimately choose that. We like the former Pearl Dubai or Dubai Pearl site. That makes sense. Palm Jebel Ali makes sense. There's a lot of different ones, but the Pearl site that we understand is currently being demolished, and it's been an eyesore for a number of years. Would be a beautiful location.
It is, because the bridges go just around it, and then it takes you to the palm. So it just sits right there for a sphere to be put in right perfectly.
And it's circular.
It is. It is. I quite love that selection of the area. Now, last time when we spoke, and then we did speak. We just touched upon this part where we spoke about the phases of Moon.
Yes.
Right. Moon has its phases, and obviously throughout the 30 days of the existence, it cannot be lit up the same way.
Yep.
Right. And you mentioned that I will reveal this in time. That how is it going to be lit differently every single day, and will it correspond to the actual phase of Moon?
And so the quick answer is yes, it can, because the carbon fiber composite material will also have solar system in it, so the building will power itself. But we also have perforated lighting system throughout the whole sphere, so we can really you've seen the lighting displays on Burj Khalifa.
That's right, yep.
And obviously we can do all of that as well. But yes, we can mimic the phases of the moon. We can have a full moon, dark moon, whatever you want.
Wow.
So that's all very doable. Or we can write your name on the moon. We can do all sorts of things. But yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be, it's just the building itself. We call this the Bilbao effect, where a building is so incredible that people will come from around the world just to see the building.
That's right.
Frank Gehry's Guggenheim Bilbao, they come to see the building, not what's inside.
You're right.
And so, and Burj Khalifa,
Burj Khalifa
people
is
come
one
to
of them,
see
yeah.
a magnificent building.
That's true.
We will be the same. So I think you'll have a lot of tourists and guests coming just to see, what is this thing, moon? What are they talking about? And then you'll see it, and it's going to be, oh my God, wow, that's amazing. And then obviously we want them to come inside as well.
Because when you go inside, I don't think one thing we touched last time we spoke, Michael, was this tranquility spa. That you've made inside, which is going to be a fantastic green zone for people to travel to.
Yeah, and my partner actually is an expert in spa, health, wellness, nutrition, longevity, and so on. And that's becoming a big thing now.
It is.
And so, yeah, people will come from around the world. And again, that's the health tourism side. And we cater for that as well, where people can come in and sort of completely switch off, which sounds almost diametrically opposed to a massive resort, but it's compartmentalized, so you're going to be able to do that.
This is amazing. So many things that are happening in the world, and then we're trying to bring in one of the most beautiful structures that we've always been in love with. I mean, you talk about poetry, you talk about science, you talk about arts. Moon has been the center of literally everything. It's just fascinating that how the love for that one celestial body has been beyond every other celestial body, and we're bringing it to Earth.
Yeah, I mean, yes, and people will say to us, and often do, once you've built the moon, would you do Mars or anything else? And the answer to us is no. Someone else can do that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right, because we can't see Mars. There's no affection, there's no connection whatsoever. Even though at some point humans will go there, and that's great, and I'm all for it. But yes, you're right. There's just something about looking up at that sort of celestial body, and it's still a wow, no matter what your age.
Irrespective. In fact, there was a theory, and me and my dad, we had this conversation about how moon, affects not just the tides, but also the human psyche, the human mindset. We are associated with the moon, the gravitational force of the moon, bad moods, good moods. They're all moon.
Yes.
It's all the moon, everything. It's just amazing.
And I think what you're saying is we better get this right. Otherwise, everybody's going to be in a bad.
Everyone's going to be in a bad mood. Werewolves are coming out all over the place. So we better make it. We better make it successful. Michael, thank you very, very much for braving the traffic prior to a long weekend. We know that's always tough, but you know what?
Wonderful.
If you can build a moon resort, you can pretty much do anything, can't you? Michael R. Henderson, the co-founder of the Moon World Resorts. Enjoy the rest of your time. Any sightseeing or plan? Or is it just pure work while you're here?
It's work, but we'll try to
get a brunch in somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere for sure. You have to.
Yeah, wonderful. Michael, congratulations on all your success, and best of luck. So this is so exciting. I can't wait for it, Neil.
Nor can I. I mean, this is going to be just amazing. And just because we know the founder, I think we'll get a sneak-in preview before anyone else gets.
Hang on. The mics are still on. You can still say no. We'll have to see what happens.
The answer to the question is you'll be there.
There we go. We got it.